Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So a few months ago, actually it's already been months, last year sometime, I made videos about how I digitize my patterns and how I grade my patterns. And if you haven't watched these two videos yet, you should definitely do that before you watch this one, because I am going more into detail about stuff there that you need to know for this video. So go ahead and click in the eye right now and watch those first. Now for everybody else who already watched these videos, this one is about pants. And in my last grading video, I asked you guys if you're interested in how to grade pants, and so many of you guys asked me to make a video about it because it is a bit specific. It's not as easy as I was showing you the technique in my last grading video. So this is a bit more specific, so definitely worth a whole video. And before we get into that, if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this, and of course about design and sewing related topics as per usual on my channel. So if you haven't turned that button gray yet, please go ahead and do so. It costs you nothing and it supports me a lot. So if you could just do that, that would be amazing. Also, if you haven't checked out my Instagram yet, I am doing loads of tips and tricks on how to sew stuff, and like, you know, these small reels and stuff that you can just watch on the go and, you know, get taught something that you might need in your sewing journey. I'm doing loads of that, of course, so go ahead and check my Instagram out. Link is in the description below. So with that all out of the way, let's just jump right into the video. Okay, so this is my pattern for my white leg pants Christine, and I'm just gonna quickly copy out size S out of this here so I can show you how to actually grade pants. And as you can see, actually the only things that are graded are the pants themselves, obviously the legs, and the waistband, and everything else, so the pockets, the fly piece, the facing, and so on and so forth, is the same throughout all the sizes. That's because you don't need to grade them. They're always the same thing, and just the width of the pants and a tiny bit of the length of, for example here, the crotch length, or also the pants themselves generally, are getting longer or shorter. And of course the width of the waistband, or the length of the waistband, is adjusted to the waist length of the pants themselves. So let's go to the new document and actually put this a tiny bit further apart, because the first thing that we're going to do for this is the same thing that we do for every piece that I am grading. I'm copying it out and copying it on top of my first layer that is done with Command or Control C and Control or Command F. That way you copy it right on top of the layer before, and then you can just do that and repeat it for however many sizes you need. And I am gonna do my standard 7 sizes I think I have. So since this is not my first video on how to grade things, you can click in the eye right now and actually watch my first video on grading. I am going more into detail on how the principles around grading actually work, that you need to grade in 2 directions, or you can grade in 2 directions, bigger or smaller, that you always have like a base size that you grade from and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and watch that first. I highly recommend that because I won't go into detail that much in this video. And also another thing, I won't explain how Illustrator works. I will give you shortcuts on the commands that I am using that are good for, you know, grading in Illustrator, but this is not a tutorial on how to use Illustrator. You should have some sort of knowledge on the program already, and if not, then I'd recommend you just search for videos on this topic to get the knowledge that you need for grading, but I will be showing you how I grade pants generally. This method is actually out of the book that I was showing you the other video. It's called Gradieren, Vergrößern, Verkleinern, DOB and KOB. It's a German book. I can recommend that very much. It's pretty expensive, but it shows you how to grade, and it gives you examples on very many different pieces on grading, and it helped me very much. It's basically what I used to teach myself how to grade and what I'm using on a weekly basis to grade my patterns. So I can recommend you that book. For all of the international English speakers, whatever, people, I'm very sorry, I don't have a book recommendation yet, but maybe if you have one in English, you can just pop it down in the comments below and just, you know, help out the other people, so that everybody, you know, can learn something and that everybody has a source to check if they need something specific. That would be amazing. So let's start. So for pants, you slice your pants like here and like kind of here at the knee line. And when you do that, you push this piece in this direction, this piece down here, this piece down here, and this piece up here. So that's basically how you enlarge or also make smaller your pattern pieces. To make them smaller, you obviously put them together. So that's the theory behind that all, but we're obviously not gonna slice the pattern up in 4 pieces and then rearrange them. That would be way too much effort. So what we actually do is just take all of the pieces that we need to enlarge first. So from size M upwards, size S is my base size, and everything below that obviously is going to get graded downwards. So size S is this pattern already, and now we're gonna size up. And to do that, we first need to figure out what the difference between our sizes is. I am explaining everything here with the difference of 4 centimeters between sizes. So my waistline from S to M differs in my size guide by 4 centimeters. That's important to note because if you use the numbers in this video that I am giving you and the numbers that I'm using, you grade by 4 centimeters. If you have a different difference, I guess, between the sizes, you need to do the math yourself. So I can give you the fractions, which is pretty simple, because that's just the millimeters for me as well. So I am taking this point right here, so this is the center front in the front piece, and I'm going to the right by 3 millimeters. So basically I am going to the right by 3/10, so 3 millimeters for me, because if you do the math, one piece has to get enlarged, so either the front and the back as well, by 1 centimeter in total, because then this one gets enlarged by 1 centimeter, the back piece gets enlarged by 1 centimeter, and you're doubling this because obviously your body has 2 sides, so this plus this times 2 equals 4 centimeters. So on your waistline, you want to go out in total by 1 centimeter. So the fraction for the movement right here would be 3/10 to the right. So editing me, actually I wanted to give you an example about the fractions because I figured that it would be a bit confusing on how to actually calculate how many millimeters or whatever you have to go out. So since I am using 4 centimeters as the difference between sizes, I have 4 pieces that I need to enlarge or make smaller. I'm just going to say enlarge now. So basically, if you have any different number than 4 centimeters between your sizing, then you would need to divide this number by 4. So let's say your difference between sizes is 5 centimeters. Then you have still 4 pieces where you need to enlarge your lines, basically. So you would need to do the math of, you need to calculate 5 divided by 4. That would equal 1.25. So this 1.25 is the amount that you need to enlarge every single pattern piece by. So your back pant needs to be enlarged not by 1 centimeter, which I am doing, but by 1.25 centimeters. So does the front piece. So now you know that the fraction which you need to move your center front by is 3/10. That equals 0.3 centimeters. Now this number, 0.3 centimeters, you just need to multiply with 1.25 centimeters, which equals 0.375 centimeters, and that is the amount that you need to move your center front by to the right. So it's a tiny bit more. I hope this makes sense. So basically what you need to do first is divide the difference of your sizes by 4. That number then gets multiplied by 3 divided by 10, so by 0.3. Or depending what other fractions we are moving the lines by. So for example, 0.5, 0.7, all of these other fractions, and that equals the amount that you have to move your piece or your lines by. Does that make sense? Math, I don't know. I'm gonna write it on screen here so you have the... Sorry. The fashion design or grading, pattern making has a lot of math. Very sorry about that. And I'm doing that by pressing the Command Shift M or Control Shift M, depends on what system you're using, and you can see this window opens up again. It's the most helpful tool in grading on Illustrator ever, so keep that shortcut in mind. It's the moving tool, so basically horizontally you want to move by 3 millimeters, vertically by 0, and you can click OK. And that's what it did right here. It just moved the whole path and everything that's selected. So every size from M upwards to the right. So the path that you can still see here that did not move is S, XS, and XXS. That is locked. So what we're going to do now is lock the smallest size of our selection. Click the same command, lock, move, and so on until we are done completely. Then we unlock all of the sizes that need to be graded bigger, and we can continue with the next anchor, next point, I guess, which is this right here. This is the opening. So basically when you sew pants in the center front, you obviously have an opening most of the times, and this notch right here marks until when the opening goes. So we want to move this here by 4 millimeters in the front, so 4/10 for us. So we're gonna put 4 centimeters in here, and then lock, move, you know the drill. Unlock everything, and we're gonna continue with the crotch right here, which is gonna get moved by 7 millimeters. And that will also make this line look good. So that's also very important, because if you wouldn't move this by that much, or like by a larger number, this line would at some point look really weird. So we're gonna do 3, 4, and then 7 here. And now for the leg, there is not too much of a difference between the sizes. We're actually just gonna go out 2.5 millimeters to the right by at the knee point, and then also at the hem point. Since I have a facing at the hem, I'm also moving the facing because it gets folded up and it needs to be moved the same way as the leg itself that it folds up to. So that's just 2.5 centimeters, so it's not that big of a difference. And we can do almost the same on the left side, so the side seam, we want to go for the hem, and then also because I have the facing, we want to go out 2.5 centimeters to the left this time, so we want to put minus 2.5 in, and do that for all the sizes. Unlock everything, and then for the knee line, we want to go out 5 millimeters. So it's getting larger now because we still have 7 millimeters to put into our waistline. If you remember, we went out at the waistline here in the center front just 3 millimeters. So we still have 7 millimeters to put into our waistline. We're doing that right here at the waist. And then I also used this notch for the pocket just to avoid having to grade or like move in a weird way the pocket as well. So I am just selecting the waist, obviously, then this piece right here where the pocket is attached, and then the pocket itself. So I will move the pocket to the left by 7 millimeters as a whole because the pocket won't get graded. That's why I'm selecting everything here, but essentially I am moving the waistline by 7 millimeters to the left because I had 3 millimeters here, then I have 7 here. So in total I graded the pants, the front pant, by 1 centimeter right here, and I will grade this by 1 centimeter as well. So in total it's going to be 4 centimeters, 1, 2, and then double, so 4. And then once we have that, we need to move the height. There's a few things that we need to do. We're going to move the waistline, which also includes the pocket. Same reason, because I don't want to change the pocket pattern piece at all. So when I'm moving something where the pocket is attached to, I'm moving the whole pocket. So the waistline gets moved 1 millimeter upwards. So we're gonna move it by 1 millimeters upwards, so -1 vertically. That's just, the minus just tells you that it goes up. That's all it does. And we're gonna move the fly line right here, the notch for the fly, also 1 millimeter up. I could have done that already with the waistline because it's the same movement that I'm doing. I could have done that in one go so that this line right here doesn't get altered. So we also want to use the same pattern piece for all the sizes for the fly piece. And then the knee line gets moved by 2 millimeters up. And I'm going to move the hemline up by -1 as well. So basically the only thing that we did is rearrange the knee line. And now I'm going to do exactly the same, but making it smaller for XS and double XS. So for the back pant, we're gonna do almost exactly the same, but the only difference is right here at this point. This is the hip point, by the way. So if you have your pattern in front of you, you're gonna find your hip line somewhere. And I'm talking about the hip point right here, which obviously you have in the front and then also in the back. So the difference is we went out here by 4 millimeters, and for the back we're going to go out 2 millimeters at this point only. But for everything else it stays the same, so we're going to go out here 3 millimeters, and here we're going to go out 2 millimeters instead of 4 that we did in the front pant, in the center front. Now here we're going to go out 7 millimeters again, just as we did for the front, and we're going to continue doing the 2.5 down here, and it's basically exactly the same as for the front. Now for the waistline right here, I am just gonna select the upper anchors of my waistline and not the lower one for the dart, because I want the dart also to get a bit longer the higher I go for my grading. So just select this upper part right here, and we're gonna go up by 1 millimeter again, just as we did for the front. That's important that you do, like for stuff like this, for example, for making the waistline higher and stuff like that. It's important to do exactly the same as you did for the front, because obviously these side seams will be attached together still. So you want to have exactly the same grading on both sides. So we also want to grade this here in the sense of moving the knee line also up the 2 millimeters that we moved the knee line in the front up, so that all of the notches still match up. That's really important. Therefore, things like that just get copied, and we're gonna move this by 1 millimeter, just as we moved the front hem as well. And that's it. Now everything is graded, and it's really not that hard, especially with Illustrator. If you use the method that I was showing you, or like that I was showing you in my first video and went more into depth with in my first video, it's really not that hard, and it's super fast as well. So I can really recommend you this method if you're looking for any grading method out there. So this is what it ended up looking like. So I would just, you know, add the different names onto the pattern pieces, then name the seams, the notches and stuff like that. Anything that is helpful for you guys to, you know, make it. I would add on, and the waistband actually gets graded by 4 centimeters just in total. That's the difference from center front to center front. It's 4 centimeters. I can show you that right here. You can see the measurement that I just took, and it's 4 centimeters. So that just gets widened by the whole grading amount. English hard. That just gets enlarged or made smaller by the complete difference of the sizes. So in my case it's 4 centimeters, or however much you have as a difference between the sizes. It's just what you do for your waistband, literally nothing else. and all of the other pieces like the pockets and stuff obviously stay the same, because we checked that we moved the pockets with everything that was moved if needed, so that the size of the pockets does not change between the sizes. That was something that I thought it was very important, because it just makes the work easier, and it's unnecessary to grade these because pockets stay the same. Same with the back pocket, and so on and so forth. And yeah, that's already it. It's really not that bad. You just need to know where to put the different amounts. That's all the fractions. Where you put the fractions into your pants so that the shape stays the same and stuff. That's all you need to know. And yeah, I hope that helped. And that's it for today's video already. I hope I was able to explain to you how I grade my pants, how I grade my pant patterns, and that it was not too complicated. If you have any questions regarding this method or anything else regarding grading and digitizing my patterns, I already linked the 2 videos about these topics in the eye, and I will also link it down in the description below, so please go ahead and check those out as well. But if you have any other questions, just pop them down in the comments and I'd be happy to help you and answer the questions that you might have. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you'll get notified every time that I post. And check out my socials, check out my Etsy store where I am selling the patterns that I'm showing you on screen, and also the pants that I was grading here for you today. All of those are available on my Etsy store. Link is also down in the description and in the pinned comment as per usual. That's the most direct way to support me. And yeah, you'll get something out of it as well, which is a pattern that you can make yourself. Every pattern has a tutorial here on my YouTube channel, so you can, you know, kind of get a visual guide on how to do that. And of course, sewing instructions are included as well. So go ahead and check that out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you next Sunday. Bye guys!